Every morning the world starts quietly, one soft light at a time. Homes flicker awake, shops open. People take those first small steps into a brand new day. And in all of that ordinary movement, there's something kind of extraordinary. A moment worth noticing, a spark you feel before you even name it. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's small, but kindness shows up right on time. And every morning we choose to show up with you so we can look for that spark together.
Good morning. I'm Matt Roof, the Uncommon Kindness Guy, and this is Kindness Rising. Let's rise together.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Kindness Rising. This week we're exploring a theme that most of us understand, whether we talk about it or not. It's resilience. If you grew up when I did, you probably heard a phrase. It floated around on locker rooms. It was on bumper stickers, job sites, and sitcoms. Life's a bitch, and then you die. Not exactly the most inspirational, but it captured something real. Life does hit. Plans break, money gets tight, careers pivot, and things don't go the way we scripted them. But this week isn't about pretending life doesn't hit. It's about how we answer back. So let's rise.
This is Kindness Rising.
Good morning again. Welcome to Kindness Rising, your morning dose of hope, humanity, and heart. We're getting up and getting after it every weekday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, with me, Matt Roof, and I am here to help us get through the morning, get it started with a little bit of energy. Coffee helps, of course. And good morning. If you're out there in the chat, please let me know. Say hello. How are you? Leaning into resilience at this time. Good morning, Mom. Good morning, Roseanne Roof. How are you leaning into resilience right now? It's that time of year, at least up here in the Northeast United States, where resilience is kind of every day. We're getting closer. I was just talking to my wife about it this morning. Hey, every day is a day closer, and there has never been a year where spring or summer didn't come. So we are working our way towards a little bit of that. That's just the window dressing, though, the outside world, the weather, but it is an indication we just keep going every day. And we're talking about that phrase, life's a bitch, then you die. As Gen X people, we heard that all the time, that cynicism. All right, good morning, Close Hiya, and Amanda Humphreys. Welcome in. Welcome. We are coming to you from upstate New York in the United States on this Super Bowl Monday. Is that a thing? I don't know. Hangover Monday for a lot of people. I don't know what you call it, but we're going to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl here in a minute. But what we're talking about right now is life's a bitch, and then you die. We're going to talk about why that may or may not be true, too, throughout the morning here. Remember, that phrase stuck around back in the 80s. For those of us who are in Gen X, that was a kind of a generational realism, cynicism about the unpredictability of life, right? But remember, resilience in the face of life being a bitch isn't denial. It begins with acknowledgement. Here's the thing, life does hit. Financial stress, career setbacks, health challenges, rejection, and failure. All part of life. The question isn't whether that difficulty exists, but the question is, what do we need to do next? What do we do next? Life's a beach, then you surf. All right, Jay, I like that. Are you a surfer? You coming to us from surfing land? I don't know. I do not surf. Never even tried it. Maybe a little bit of body surfing or what's that stuff called? Boogie boarding over here, Jersey Shore or wherever on this side of the world. Not a whole lot of surfing, but anyway. What what do you do next when life hands you that little pile of poop? What do you do? And that's where we're trying to frame that perspective, because resilience isn't toughness alone. It's not just grinding it out. Sometimes you do have to grind it out. It isn't motivational posters hanging behind us. It's things like awareness, adaptation, community, self-talk. I talk to myself a lot. Curiosity and kindness towards yourself during that rebuild. Thank you so much. Welcome into Kindness Rising, where we start every day with a little bit of hope, humanity, and heart. And I am glad you are here with us, with me, helping me to get up and get after it this morning. Mike Sullivan, welcome in, Sully. I appreciate you, man. Just, you have no idea every day what it means when I see your name. You do have an idea, because I tell you every day. Sully, Roseanne, the ones who come here every single day, subscribe to the channel. Meet me here 7:30 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, for Kindness Rising, where we're going to talk about our 6 strings, and resilience has a lot to do with the 6 strings. The 4 strings that I'm leaning into today: balance, self-awareness, growth, and action, because that is what resilience is. It's tuning the instrument after a string snaps. Michael McDonald and Eli Daniel, welcome in this morning to Kindness Rising on a Monday, Super Bowl Monday, Hangover Monday. Is there an official name? Does anybody know for the day after the Super Bowl? I personally think, at least I did when I was in my 20s and 30s, and the Super Bowl was a little different for me then. The day after the Super Bowl should be a national holiday. Probably more people who need the day off today than other days that we celebrate. Anyway, there were Mondays, trust me, Super Bowl Mondays, where I was like, oh my God, I got to get up. Probably still drunk, frankly, or just not in the right headspace. I don't do that anymore. Last night's Super Bowl excitement was making homemade Indian food and homemade ice cream. So that's about as partying as we got at our house for the Super Bowl. But anyway, that's not the point. I'm going to talk more about the Super Bowl actually here coming up in just a minute, and how it relates to our very subject today, which is resilience. What happened? What happened? What happened to my tooth? Leaning into that a little bit these days. Yep, I'm missing a tooth. Combination of a hockey stick and a chicken wing. I do have a fake tooth that I put in sometimes, but today I just didn't feel like wearing it, so I didn't. What are you asking about, Primo? What happened in the Super Bowl? What happened in my tooth? What's happening in the world? I don't know. Subscribe to the channel and we'll figure it out together. Easy to remember. HHH. Yep. Absolutely. Thanks. Hope, humanity, and heart. That is our theme here at Kindness Rising. Mike Sullivan, I appreciate you. You lost the same tooth to a BB gun, Mike? Wow. What happened in the Super Bowl was the Seattle Seahawks had a dominating defensive performance and won the game. So yeah, it was definitely it was mostly a low-scoring game until the very end, when a couple of touchdowns happened. But I don't think the first touchdown happened until sometime into the fourth quarter. I'm sorry, I got distracted there for a second. I don't think a touchdown happened, and I don't think the Patriots scored until the fourth quarter, actually. But I watched the whole game. I really didn't care what happened on either side. I wanted the Seahawks to win because my wife had a bet with one of her coworkers. But that's really the only reason. Honestly, the only reason. And my numbers in my pool didn't hit. But whatever. And I liked the commercials. And I was interested in the pregame for sure. And even the halftime show was a mind opener for me. But the pregame was awesome for me. I enjoyed Green Day. Brandy Carlisle, if you guys had a chance to see her performance of America the Beautiful, along with a couple of strings, and Charlie Puth with a very unique national anthem. I like all that stuff. I'm into it. I like that emotion of it. I like that part of it. I didn't really care what happened in the game, but that's what happened in the Super Bowl. Bunch of commercials, some funny ones. My favorite commercial, as stupid as it was. Does anybody have a favorite commercial? Maybe I'll hold my favorite commercial. What was your favorite commercial if you watched the Super Bowl last night? I definitely had a favorite, for sure, a standout. Anyway, we're just talking about resilience, really. That's what we're here to mostly talk about. And I wanted to share that. Why is resilience what we're talking about this week? And why is life a bitch, then you die? Something that came into my mind throughout last week, and I'm thinking, say that anymore, which I think is a good thing ultimately. But we don't say life's a bitch, then you die anymore. It was a thing for a while. You'd see that all over T-shirts and bumper stickers and whatever. But here's the thing. Last week was one of those weeks for me. And I know you know the kind. Every time you turned around, a steady rhythm of hits, financial worries about my kids. I'm not going to get into the specifics and the details, but let me just tell you, if you could name a thing, it probably hit me last week. Relationship tensions, finances, work stuff, the weather. I mean, just like boom, 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 steady barrage of hits. And it felt like every time I managed to address something that was right in front of me, got it figured out. Okay, I got my head around that one. Boom, another challenge showed up. Relentless headwind. But I'm facing that headwind. That's today's theme. Facing the headwind, knowing that I'm not alone in that. I have a tremendous good morning, Holroyd. Knowing that I have a tremendous support system right here at Kindness Rising, and with my family and with people around me, having confidence in myself and my own abilities when things externally happen to me. And I'm staying resilient, and I will continue to stay resilient. Not perfectly, not heroically, just intentionally staying connected, not letting those things overtake me, acknowledging them, letting them go. Right? Absolutely. The things that happen, and how did I do it? How did I get through the week when, man, there were times I was like, how am I going to get through this week? Gritting my teeth, literally. Kindness. Started with kindness towards myself. Just say, okay, in the moment, we're going to get through this. Balance, stepping back when perspective was needed, and going, okay, let's have a little perspective on the world. I'm okay. Family's okay. That kind of stuff. Curiosity, asking myself, what did this moment teach me? What can I learn to grow from this? And self-awareness, recognizing that stress, excuse me, without letting it define me, right? And just being gratitude, grateful for all that I do have, and recognizing that despite those relentless hits, that we can keep going. And I celebrated those small wins. The conversation I handled, well, hey, dude, you did that great. A task I completed, yay. Anyway, moments of connections, breaths of perspective, recognizing that in the shitstorm, for a lack of a better way of putting it, when life is a bitch, I'm not going to die. I'm going to keep going, because resilient isn't about dominating that adversity. It's about showing up consistently in the face of it, addressing it, acknowledging it, knowing that denial is not just a river in Egypt. So don't deny it. Acknowledge it. Not letting it get me down, but acknowledging. That's how I got through the week. And I know that it's giving me hope heading into this week, because I was able to power through. And yeah, I showed up every day last week, and maybe I talked about some things and whatever, but the weight that was on me throughout the week after I hung up, for those of you who were showing up every day, and I know there's some of you out there every day. Sorry, I just got distracted again. I talked about some of the things, but it was a heavy week. It was a heavy week. I would end my stream here and face those challenges. Sometimes not with the most grace, but I face them, right? Um, and here's the thing: life is a bitch, and you have to know that the next challenge will come down the road. One of my buddies who I was talking to during some of this stuff, who, leaning into my friendship, said, "Guess what, Matt? This too shall pass, just to make room for more shit to fill it in." I love that second ending. I always say this too shall pass. We say that a lot in our family too, but he just reminded me that guess what? It'll pass, and then the next pile of stuff will just keep coming. So you just have to keep facing it, adapting, growing, and rising. And that's where we are today here on Kindness Rising. So I asked, did people watch the bowl? What was your favorite commercial? I love the commercials. It's part of why I go. Hi, Sanchez Joshua. Welcome. I am glad you are here. Did you watch the Super Bowl last night? Did you watch the commercials? What was your favorite? One thing I noticed about the commercials, just generally, it was a very interesting, obviously, ton of AI stuff, computers, the future, digital, all those. Not a whole lot of products. Usually it's products, right? You had the Budweiser commercial, which I thought was a good couple of Budweiser commercials that were cool, but not a whole lot of products. Mostly services and perspectives. It was a very interesting, to me, the Mario commercial. There was a Mario commercial for the new movie. That was the other thing. Yes, thank you for saying that, Sanchez. Absolutely. Ton of commercials about new media coming out, new movies, shows. The Netflix had a commercial. You're just glad the Seahawks from Progressive Seattle won and the owner did finance a divisive leader. I don't know what that means. Oh, didn't. Yeah. Sully, I appreciate what you're saying. Absolutely. Robert Kraft, while he certainly built a team of unbelievable dynasty with the Patriots and Tom Brady and the whole thing. But just because you're great at football or great at running a football organization does not necessarily mean you're a great person. Not a huge fan of Robert Kraft, regardless of his political stances. Just don't really care for the way he approaches the world. And of course, his scandals and whatever the case may be. I agree, and I enjoyed Seattle. I actually did enjoy Seattle, not for that reason. I'll tell you my primary reason why I love Seattle or enjoyed the game yesterday, thinking about it, and they talked about it a lot, and it's related right to our topic here of resilience. How darn resilient was Sam Darnold? Right, dude gets drafted third round or third pick. The Jets think he's the answer. The guy can't win a game with that team. He goes off and he becomes a backup quarterback a couple of places. Yada yada. What is a Super Bowl exactly, Jeffrey? I kept calling it the stupid bowl. I mean, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, that was funny. Sam Darnold. That's what was cool about it for me. He was darn resilient, dude. Then he gets traded to another team, goes 14-3, leading a team, and because he had struggled in a playoff game, they drop him. Seattle picks him up, and he leads them to a Super Bowl. That is pretty resilient. And he didn't have any kind of like a dominating performance, but he was just steadily there. The defense won the game for them, no question, absolutely. And that is our perfect transition to team over individual, because that's what was clear last night. from the human perspective. It was a team effort. There was no one individual dominating performance. The running back for Seattle had a great game, but only because his offensive line blew holes open for him, and they did great. I mean, I'm not going to undermine anybody's individual performance, but it was clear that the team defense for Seattle was what won the game. And even New England's defense was unbelievable, holding Seattle to just field goals pretty much the entire game until a pick six and a random touchdown. Like it was pretty cool. But most of the times in the Super Bowl, we remember things like that unbelievable throw, the head catch, the whatever, right? That historic performance, the one iconic play that defines the entire game. That didn't happen yesterday. It just felt different. The Seahawks, they won because they had discipline and defense and execution with no single player overshadowing the outcome. And it was interesting to me because I don't know if you guys ever look at Google Trends. I do because I like to talk about the things that are happening in the world. I use it as a tool to inform the show. And if I can pull this off, boom, 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 I'm going to share this morning's Google Trends. Now, if you spend time on Google Trends, you'll always notice that people's names pop up, and you'll see that when I do that, individuals tend to dominate the view, right? But this is the past 24 hours. This was at 6:40, starting at 6:43 a.m. this morning. I ran my Google Trends just to see what was going on. Of course, the Super Bowl was up there, but look, Super Bowl, Green Day, which I really enjoyed the Green Day's performance and the way they brought the old heroes out from old Super Bowls. Lindsey Vohn's on here. What time is the halftime show? Brandi Carlile, awesome. Turning Point had their ultimate. What do you see? You got to get down to here. Drake May. I think he was 16th on the list. First time you see an individual player's name, and that's the losing quarterback who shows up in the trend. Not some dude that, like, you just keep going. And Sam Darnold shows up finally. So, I mean, if that's not an indication, to me, that's an indication, actually, of the fact that it's recognized that this was not about the individual performance. It was about the team performance. I thought that was kind of really cool. And it reinforces something that we don't really talk about, which is success. Real success that we don't talk about enough. We talk about it. But real success is often not, struggling through this one. Success. Real success is often distributed. It's shared. It's built through coordination, not heroics, and it ties directly into resilience. We often think of resilience as an individual trait, toughness, grit, pushing through it alone, but resilient systems and teams, they don't work that way. Trust, structure, communication, shared responsibility. It's true in sports, it's true in business, it's true in families, and it's true in communities, because nobody wins consistently because of just one person. Even those old teams with Jordan and LeBron James, all those things. I switched to basketball for some reason. They win because the whole ecosystem holds together. Thank you for joining me here on Kindness Rising this morning, just like I show up every day, weekdays, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, to help you get up and get after it. Having fun and playing musical windows. Anyway, all right, I'm going to get back to it because time is flying. What was my favorite commercial? Nobody asked me, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I don't know why I just died laughing and loved the Ben Affleck Dunkin' Donuts commercial with all those celebrities popping in their 80s the 90s mode. It was hysterical to me. I just loved it. I loved it. I'm going to go back and watch it again, but I actually laughed out loud at it. And I appreciate a little self-facing humor like what Ben showed in that commercial with all those other stars. It was pretty darn funny. Did anybody else see it? All right. So we're winding down on Super Bowl Monday, Hangover Monday, whatever, the beginning of Resilience Week here on Kindness Rising. I am glad you've chosen to come out here, spend some time with me as we get up and get after it with hope, humanity, heart, and heart. And as always, I like to give us a little bit of some things to think about, something practical to walk away with, not just my musings on things like resilience and team effort and that kind of thing. But here's three things that can help you in the face of adversity to be resilient. And they're the things that I'm leaning into as I move forward and upward up that spiral staircase we talk about. Name the reality. Don't be in denial. Avoiding the truth only drains your energy, and clarity will fuel your resilience. You'll figure it out, but be real about it. Understand it. Have some self awareness. Last week we talked about control and controlling the controllables. If that doesn't connect right here, I don't know what else will. When we're feeling overwhelmed and in need of some resilience, all we can do is focus on those small forward actions that matter: a phone call, an email, one small step, because momentum and consistency is going to beat perfection every single time. And lastly, we've got to practice that internal kindness. Self-talk matters. I know there were times last week when I was wallowing and I got into myself and saying I'm a failure or I can't do this. There were times, and I had to bring myself back up and recognize that I was having that self-talk that was only self-defeating. Failure is learning. I had to remind myself of that. And what can I control from what I learned from those failures, from those challenges? I'm replacing I failed with I'm adjusting, modifying, adapting, moving forward, learning and growing, because resilience, it grows from inside ourselves, just like we talk about with James Allen and As a Man Thinketh. We're going to get back into some of that too. So those are the three things I want us to do. I know I am going to do my practical takeaways. I'm going to name my reality. I'm not floating down denial. I am controlling the controllables. What can I do? Those small actions moving forward. And I am practicing internal kindness, telling myself, reminding myself that I am not, just because I fail at something does not mean I am a failure. It means I am learning from that failure and growing. And that's Kindness Rising this morning. Maybe the old phrase, life's a bitch, then you die, got one thing right, that life isn't always easy, but it's missing the ending. The ending is wrong, because what I see every day is people, families, communities, people rebuilding quietly and facing it this way. Life hits and people rise. That's resilience. That's kindness in action. And that's what we'll be exploring all week right here on Kindness Rising. Don't forget to get on over to Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and friends. Stick around. Tomorrow is Tuesday. Today's Monday. No shit. Tomorrow is Tuesday. Who's Tuesday? Nobody. Not yet. But Wednesday you'll see Jason Hewlett, and Thursday you'll see my brain, Cheryl Whitaker. All right. Well, ending on that little, just remember this. I'm Matt Roof, and I'm glad you started your day here on Kindness Rising. Come on back, 7:30 tomorrow morning, just like we do every day. And until then, stay uncommon and stay kind.
Okay, Matt, we got the memo about the Kindness Rising promo, but what exactly are we promising people?
And is there craft services? Hey, I need snacks too.
Gentlemen, focus. Kindness Rising multiplies kindness and helps people get up on the right side of the bed.
So wait, we're not doing another angry headline show.
Exactly. We rise above the negative, divisive noise.
Translation, less rage bait, more high fives for humanity. And this is live, like actually live.
Yep. We go live on YouTube and LinkedIn, 7:30 a.m. Eastern every weekday.
Wait, if it's live, what if I forget my lines?
Then you improvise.
Okay, so our tagline is basically wake up, tune in, and start your day with kindness.
Exactly. Kindness Rising. Good vibes, practical tips, and a reason to get up on the right side of the bed.
You heard the boss. Subscribe now before he makes us do a TikTok dance.
Kindness Rising. Wake up, tune in, and let's make some good noise.